Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and non-binary piles, we are back. One woman table. Here we are. I am the dreaded GM. You can just call me Dread. And it is a very exciting moment, very exciting time. I am going to be doing the second official adventure um on this stream. It's very exciting times. And not only will I be doing this second adventure, we are going to be with a very familiar character as well. This new adventure, called Alone Against the Tide, rather than Alone Against the Flames, is another solo Call of Cthulhu adventure, and it's meant to be a little harder. It's meant to be it introduces new rules and new mechanics into the game, and I believe one of the rules that it introduces is the optional luck rule. So essentially what this is, um I don't know. All I know is that this is a solo adventure, and that it maybe has something to do with water. That's my take. That's my hot take on this particular adventure. But I am going to be using the character that I used in my last adventure that was used during character creation. As you can see, I've slightly updated her character sheet. Angie Cartwright. Angie is back. Angie is back, and she's horribly traumatized from the events of the previous stream. If you guys haven't seen it, it's not necessary for you to have seen it. I just thought it would be fun, a little bit more fun to use this character than to just create an entirely different one. But on that, I have changed a couple of her stats. Just a couple. And I'll explain why. So behind me, you can see the Investigator's Handbook for Call of Cthulhu, and I was taking a little gander through it, and I realized we can do better here. And because of the events of the previous stream, I wanted to adjust some of her stats, because there is a mechanic for improving your stats, but it's not the same as in like leveling up, as in say Pathfinder or in D&D. In Call of Cthulhu, if you succeed on a roll without using what are called luck points, we haven't had to use them at all. But that is the new mechanic that comes in, luck points, which I'll explain in a little minute. If you succeed on a roll using just the dice, you just succeed, you are meant to put a little tick beside whatever skill you used to succeed, whatever skill it was you were rolling for. And then you at the end of the scenario, you can roll another D100, and if you get higher than what your score is, so for example, one of the scores I got to improve was my spot hidden. If I get, my original score was, I believe it was 50. If I got over 50, I could roll just a D10, which are these little boyos here. Roll a D10 and you add that to your score, and that's how you're improving essentially. I quite like it. I quite like that mechanic. It's a very handy little mechanic. In the previous stream, I successfully rolled a psychology and a spot hidden, and I got a pretty good score now for my psychology. I can read your mind. I'm gonna get into your mind. But one thing I had to improve on was her physical stats. A little spoiler for the last stream. So at the end of the stream, for reasons I won't go into in case anyone who's new wants to watch it, Angie got quite severely burnt. Um, in mechanical terms, by the time we finished the stream, she only had 3 hit points left. And I interpreted that when I was redoing this character as somebody who they can still move. I'm taking it that it's been a couple of years since the events of Emberhead. Oh yeah, hello Chaos Blade. Welcome to the stream, man. Yes, a little bit of aloe will definitely fix that up. There's no issues here. Um but I wanted to reflect that in her stats. Like it's not crazy low. Like how I'm interpreting it, it's just like a little below average. She walks with a limp, and her strength was never the best. Strength before the events of Emberhead was her dump stat. And now strength and her dexterity are on par with each other. So they're at a 40, which is it's fine, but it's not great. I also added a couple of skills. So within reason. So the rules of Call of Cthulhu when you're actually doing character creation, it's like a couple of different it's like a point buy system. So for your occupation, Angie's occupation is a private investigator. There are certain skills that you can choose from a list, and you can add points to them. And then there's personal. I can't remember the exact term. It's I think personal skills. I'll just say, personal skills, where you multiply 2 different stats by 2, and you get a little pool of points, and you can put it into different skills. So I did that, and without going into the reasons why, just for spoiler reasons, basically she feels incredible guilt about some of the events of Alone Against the Fire. And very clearly she was dealing with it's not really a spoiler, it's no, that is a spoiler. Actually, that's a huge spoiler for this entire thing. She was dealing with a certain thing, and in my eyes, because of things that she experienced, she doesn't have her physical strength or dexterity anymore. She has her mind, though. She's an incredibly intelligent person, and she's also incredibly hot. The burns did affect that a bit, but honestly, not that much. Just because I really liked the idea of being a really hot person, and like I just have this like kind of bombshell flapper in my head. She's nice. Yeah. She's so hot she got burned. That is absolutely correct. That is exactly what's happened. Yeah, and I now, and from reading the handbook over there, I actually got a much better idea of like how good you are at this particular skill, because it's not that it's vague, it's just it's a skill, and I had only a vague idea of the scale. And now that I know just how hot this particular score is, I'm like, okay, Angie, okay, I see you. I see you. You lost a little step there because of the burns, but we just let that roll off. Anywho, okay. Without further ado, we're gonna get started on the adventure. I just wanted to give that quick little update on her stats. And, dang, I forgot to give her a gun. Oh well, it is what it is. I could probably still give her a gun. I might find one. Anyway, so the new adventure is called Alone Against the Tide. I have done very little in terms of looking up what this is about. My best bet is that maybe this guy is going to show up at some point. And honestly, I hate that for myself. I hate that for Angie. She's already been through so much. And there's water involved. I mean, it's called A Solitaire Adventure by the Lakeshore. Like, there has to be some water involved at some point. If there's not, I'm going to be disappointed. We actually got it fixed. I actually got it fixed within a reasonable amount of time. We did it. Fumi's in because I just realized I'm not wearing my glasses. That's fine. Who needs glasses? All right. The sun sinks low on the horizon as I board the ferry headed across the lake to Esbury. As I set foot on the boat, the ferryman greets you with a wide smile and a cheery wave. Andrew would be much more elegant. He stands by the gangplank as you pass, welcoming the other passengers as he removes his cap to scratch his balding head. His pudgy figure fills his well-worn suit. He looks a little awkward, but he seems a rather pleasant sort. Leaving the man behind you, I take my seat towards the prow, my eyes fixed on the destination. Nice. Go to 12. I settle into a seat with my thin briefcase resting on my lap, noticing that the rest of the passengers are likewise getting comfortable for the short trip across the lake. Glancing around you, you catch sight of the ferryman entering the cabin. As I sit patiently and wait for the engine to come to life, I listen to the sounds of idle chatter behind me. I look out over the water and notice a thin fog beginning to form over the surface of the water as the temperature drops with the approach of night. It's fine, I'm sure. It's just a little bit of fog. Just a little bit of fog. Happens all the time. After a few minutes, I hear the engine sputter into action and feel the ferry lurch forward. The conversations around me continue as the ferryman joins us all on deck. Oh, that's great. You can't help overhearing most of the talk, though it's surprisingly banal. Is that how you say it? Banal? No one's going to correct me fast enough. There are almost a dozen passengers on the ferry. Most of them are simply looking to spend their money during the weekend in Esbury and to enjoy the various shops and leisure activities the lakeside town has to offer. Many of the passengers seem to come from money, as is common in Esbury. Fucking bourgeoisie. You notice a strange look from one of the women in the group. She has a full figure and brown hair and eyes. She seems to be looking you over, admiring your features. Sup? Game match? Game sees game. Oh, what's the phrase? Doesn't matter. Game recognizes game. I've done all this already, so I am not going to go through all this. But for anyone who is looking to get into stuff like this, both this and the previous adventure we streamed is actually a really good introduction to the mechanics of Call of Cthulhu. I would highly recommend anyone who wants to get into that RPG in particular, take a look up. This particular adventure is not free. I can't remember the price offhand, but Alone Against the Flames is free on Chaosium's website. I will never stop talking about how much I love Chaosium. I have deeply, deeply fallen in love with at least what they're doing right now. I've learned from a a certain other larger company not to love the company, just love the game. That's all I'll say on that. Oh, no, I feel like that was a spoiler. None of you saw it, right? Ah, here we go. Oh, one thing I should say that this version, I've already noticed about this adventure that is a very good point over the previous one, is it has I don't know if you guys can see it right here. I'm just highlighting it here. No, my beautiful face cam is blocking out. Just scroll down a little. There we go. So where I've highlighted right here, that's actually the text, the number of the text box we came from before. So just makes it a little easier if you're a forgetful egg like me, to help you find out if this is actually the correct text box. So that's just a little point from me. And I am a private investigator. Thank you. This one should see her. There you go. I choose my words care. No. No, that's not right. That's probably my next one. Shit, I'm gonna need to go back. Ah, there's truly no avoiding being in a forgetful egg. If anyone knows a good way of not being forgetful, please tell me. Seems to be by my features. Yes, there was a hot lady looking at me. Did the hot lady ever say anything to me? Nobody talked to me. Should I roll a sanity roll real quick? The easiest way to not be forgetful is to remember more. Oh my god! A revelation! Truly, I've never thought about just remembering things. I must have missed something. I must have. I refuse to believe I'm insane already. Oh wow, there was a whole thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm super dumb. The woman clearly sees something in you that she likes. Ooh. Oh my. I do cover, like, I imagine, again, I'm wearing a dress. Like, you know, it's like, it's functional, but there's definitely some style there. And, like, in the previous adventure, I burnt my legs pretty badly, and they're healed, but I feel like, I definitely have scars that I'm self-conscious about, so I'm, like, pulling my dress a little to kind of cover them, but I'm also kind of like, thanks. Oh, thanks. Perhaps it's my looks, or a glint of intelligence in my eyes. I have both, so it could also be both. She gives me a sly wink before turning back to her companions. Oh my. Guys, should we just forget this entire thing and just hang out with this lady and find out what her deal is? Sitting apart from the general crowd are two men in dark, well-tailored suits, whispering quietly to each other. They have unamused expressions on their faces, as if they don't seem pleased to be here. Perhaps they're on business. Noticing that I'm sitting alone, the ferryman approaches you and stands over you with his characteristic smile. I don't know if anyone here is a female. Why did I say it like that? A girl, or identifies as that. But to me, it is. Kills from the Crypt. What's up? What's up? I should hook up with this lady. I should. I don't know if I'll get the chance. If I get the chance, I'm gonna hook up with the lady. But I may die tonight, but I'm gonna get some before I do. But I was making a point before I got horribly interrupted by these lovely people. I don't know if they're, like, I do know now one is, but at least it's very uncomfortable, at least for me, when just a random dude, like, comes over and stands over me. That's the wording. He stands over me. Like, I know he works here, so he's probably just being nice, but both me, Dread, and Angie are we don't like this. I notice he's missing a tooth in the upper left corner of his mouth. His eyes are bright as they light upon me. Okay. Well, this is okay. This is a bit of a double standard. I've actually just realized because I'm like very much enjoying the attention of this lady, but as soon as this man shows me attention, I'm like, nope, absolutely not. Good afternoon. You look a bit lonely there, friend. What brings you to Esbury? Okay, he's friend-zoned me pretty hard right off the bat. Anybody who says friend. Yes, it does suck in every universe, but I'm pretty sure I've just been friend-zoned, so it's okay. What brings me to Esbury? And that's where I was meant to go to 41. I choose my words carefully before replying, not wanting to give out sensitive information. I tell him that I'm working with an investigative service in Boston and that I'm working a case. So, I'm going to retcon that statement a little bit, and say I work where Angie actually works in a fictional city called Arkham, the Blackwood Detective Agency. So I'm working a case on behalf of them. That's what my story, and I'm sticking to it. The ferryman scratches his head. Boston. I said I had retconned it and immediately ruined it. Arkham, huh? And they sent you all the way out here. I imagine this has to do with Professor Harris's death, but Officer Powell has that handled, I think. The man shrugs and flashes another smile. But I suppose it's not my place to pry. He extends his hand to you. I'm not Lance Sanford, by the way. I think we skipped the introduction. He already knows that, like, maybe it's just like 1920s stuff and like small town stuff, but he already knows much too much. Professor Harris. Yeah, that's probably it. I'm probably more interested in Professor Harris. I'd like to get the local take on this guy. The ferryman raises a questioning eyebrow at me. Well, Professor Harris? I can't say much, really. I didn't really know him all that well, but he seemed like a nice guy. It was sad to hear that he died. I gently press for more information about his death. I think I lay a hand on his arm, just like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you were sad. Do you know how he died? Like, accident or murder most foul? Sanford frowns but answers. Officer Powell says it's suicide. I'm inclined to believe him, but Professor Harris seemed happy enough to me. More than content to relax in Esbury like anyone else. In between his studies, of course. Ancient Indian history, I think it was. I had coffee with the professor a few weeks ago, and he talked my ear off about it. I couldn't understand half of what he said, but he was quite excited by whatever it was. I exchange a few more pleasantries with Sanford before he goes off to finish guiding the boat into port. I pass the time in casual conversation with the other passengers and am observing the scenery. Yeah, I like people, sure. I note the tall pines and the sloping hills along the lakeshore around Esbury. These features and the small town beyond are just visible through the growing mist, but squinting helps make them out to your satisfaction. In time, I arrive on the pier at Esbury, grateful to be off the water. Number 3. I take my first steps onto the pier with the rest of the ferry passengers, trying to get my land legs once again. And I'm in heels. Like, listen, every woman wore heels. I am not such a woman that I can't wear heels. I fall for it I fall over, I should say, every single time. But everyone in this era, it seems to me, wore heels. And like to have sea legs as, like, with heels, that seems like a dangerous combo. Uh, the passengers still chat casually as they walk off to their destinations. I note one last little flirty wink from the full-figured woman as she struts along confidently behind the women accompanying her. I think I might have to find this woman. Sorry, Professor Harris, your death investigation will have to wait. A woman has shown me attention. Lost my train of thought now because of that. There we go. And I feel the two dark-suited men push past me at a brisk pace, nudging me out of their way. Rude. Sanford gives me one last little wave and a smile as he begins tending to the old rust-stained boat that is his pride and joy. Okay, I feel bad about how I thought about Sanford. I'll be honest. The last light of the sun is fading fast, and the fog is growing thick on the water now. The night is still young, but I would rather not be wandering around in the dark and fog of a town I'm unfamiliar with. Taking in my surroundings, I see a sizable crowd jockeying for entrance into a lavish, modern-looking building along the lakeside. A folding sign sits out front, illuminated by a lantern. The words, "Estate sale tonight," are written on it in large, bold letters. While this seems to be the main attraction, I could also seek out somewhere to stay for the night and set about my work in the morning. And this is a bunch of stuff that I don't need to look at. Except for this down here. All this goody-goody stuff. This is stuff I have to go to look at. To visit the estate sale. Or to find someone to stay for the night. You know I gotta go into that estate sale. The last time I found somewhere to stay for that night, they tried to burn me alive. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. So yeah, I am going to go to the estate sale. Okay. Pushing through the crowd, I make my way toward the estate sale. Judging by the number of people packing into the dance hall, this seems to be quite the event. Most of the people here are well dressed with conspicuous amounts of jewelry and designer clothing on display. The bourgeois have gathered here, everybody. I see a broad-shouldered man in a policeman's uniform standing by the door. He has a scarred yet clean-shaven face and a baton at his side. His brow is furrowed in a serious expression, and he watches the commotion through narrow eyes. As I mingle with the assorted academics and collectors, I notice a few other faces that stand out in the crowd. Most immediately, I spot a man in flowing orange robes and tawny skin. I wonder if this is this man. Oh, you guys can't see. Hold on. This guy. Look at him. He looks very chipper. And I don't know if it's like the art style or if I don't know what it is. He's like, if anyone, like, he's got a serial killer look about him. That's like, because whenever you see pictures of serial killers, right, they always have like a weird glint, like a weird glow in their eyes. Like, it doesn't matter like whether they have been painted or photographed or whatever it is, they always have like a weird glint. And this guy has that weird glint, and I don't know if this is the guy we're seeing. But if it is, I'm wary. Yep. Most immediately, I spot a man in flowing orange robes and tawny skin. He seems more than a little out of place and is garnering some odd looks from the other guests. Listen, my issue with him is not his robes, it's his serial killer eyes. That's my issue. Maybe he's just really charismatic. Glancing around further, you happen to notice the two dark-suited gentlemen from earlier, standing in a corner towards the front of the room, talking to a young, dark-haired man in a dated yet elegant long coat. He is of a slight build and has rather sharp features. A thin wisp of a mustache hangs beneath his nose. Most noticeable, though, is the rather attractive young woman standing on stage at the front of the room next to a bespectacled old man. Long black hair cascades down her shoulders, accentuating her pale features and complementing her formal black dress. Occasionally, she and the older gentleman peek at objects hidden beneath white sheets, the sale items waiting to be displayed. Now, we know that there's a dead man that I'm here to investigate. Probably. Imagine if it was just something completely unrelated. It's like, oh, I'm tracking a missing dog, and we think the dog's here. Black at this time in particular was usually to signify mourning. So I wonder, this is metagame knowledge, but well, it's not really metagame knowledge. I learned it in-game, in character. This is metagame speculation, I would probably say. Or she could just look really hot in a black dress. Apparently there's a lot of attractive women just around here. So, I can mingle with the crowd of guests, I can speak to the officer at the back of the room, I can approach the man in orange, introduce myself to the dark-suited men, make my way to the stage and the woman, or leave the hall. I ain't leaving the hall. I think we can all agree that that's a dumb idea. I'm just wondering who Angie would go for. I could see her going for the cop. I could see her going for the cop just because I feel like that would have been my first port of call the next morning anyway. The dark-suited men is curious. They were quite rude to me earlier, shoving past me. Maybe they were just late to this. I'm kind of just looking at my character sheet thinking, what would Angie do? Because Caitlin wants to immediately go and talk to this orange man. It's Trump. It's somehow Trump. But I'm not sure if that's something Angie would do. Angie, while curious about the man, I don't know if she's on business. This is a business thing. So she would probably go to speak to the officer. Or the dark-suited men. Okay. I'm gonna roll little d4. Odds I go to the officer, evens I go to the dark-suited men. Odds. It's the officer. Little sad, but it was what my gut feeling from the beginning with Angie, so. You turn around and backtrack towards the entrance of the ballroom. Something about the officer by the door catches my attention and holds it. He gives off a commanding presence, and his eyes bore into me intensely as I make my way over to him. As I move within earshot, he rests his hand on his baton and clears his throat. I really hope there isn't going to be any sort of problem, citizen. I wouldn't want to see anyone getting hurt tonight. His hand does not move from the baton. Okay, that's a strong energy to be putting in immediately. So, for the peeps here who may not know, I'm making a psychology roll. So a psychology roll is basically like closest thing analog I have to D&D would be insight. However, the mechanics of Call of Cthulhu are quite different to D&D or other D20 systems. Here we use percentile dice. I'm holding them on my hand, weird. So, this little boy here, and this little boy here. And I have points in psychology, and I am very insightful. I have a 70 in psychology. I have to roll below a 70 to succeed on this roll. If I go above 70, I fail. So the fact that we have a lot of room to play here. Is that 90? No. Oh. For a second I thought it was 98 and I was like, Jesus Christ. It is 68. So I pass. Just about. For an officer of the law, Officer Powell possesses a rather thuggish disposition. Yeah, like, you all heard and saw that energy he came at me. He seems to be looking for a fight, and from the scars on his face you can tell he's been in many. With his size, he does cut a rather intimidating figure. Still, the use of thinly veiled threats as an introduction is somewhat unnerving. I'm glad the writer agrees with me. It's certainly not proper behavior for a moral and ethical man. It's probably best not to provoke this man, and it would be wise to avoid him as much as possible. Immediately corrupt. Just immediately a corrupt policeman for no reason. Wild. I have begun gathering information in Esbury. Would I like to interact some more? Okay. I can choose 3 other options. No, 2 other options. So I've already spoken to Officer Powell, and he greeted me with a very aggressive energy. My other instinct was to go to the dark-suited men, and they're the ones I'm, like, am I the only one who thinks that's, like, they're a little strange? Like, I'm getting very kind of Area 51 type vibes here. And don't worry, guys, the hot woman is next. If I have, like, I think we all agree that they're definitely, yeah, I agree, they're definitely G-men. Like, I think we all agree at some point there has to be we have to, like, talk to a hot woman, right? And honestly, it is literally just because this woman showed, like, a woman. I don't think it was this one. A woman showed me 2 seconds of attention. Am I a secret nice guy? I approach the huddled group and introduce myself to them, stating that I recognize them from the ferry. The 2 men from earlier appeared annoyed at my presence and are visibly irritated. You bumped into me. Scram, lady. We don't know you. You got nothing to do with us. The 3rd man seems likewise bothered and frowns at my intrusion. They certainly make me feel unwelcome. Ignoring me in the hopes that I'll leave, the 2 men in suits turn their backs to you. I see the jacket of each suit shift oddly, as if it's ill-fitting. Spot hidden. Not as good as my psychology, but still not bad. Evening, Raven IE. Ooh. Dice Christ is with me once again. That's an 11. I am well traveled enough to know that the 2 men are concealing handguns at their waists. Why not? What could they possibly need them for is beyond me, but their hidden weapons and shady nature makes me think it isn't good. Before I go, I think I catch a glint of metal from beneath the folds of the young man's coat as well. This man might likewise be armed. Thank you for wishing me a nice evening as well. I feel like I should tell somebody. And now I really regret forgetting my gun. We simply must. We simply must make our way to the stage and this woman. We simply must. I make my way to the stage, navigating around the many guests in the dance hall. I lock eyes firmly on the woman, and hers rise to meet mine as she looks up from peeking at one of the hidden objects. She stops what she's doing as I approach, and a smile appears on her lips as she notices that she's caught my eye. She rests her left hand on her hip as I come up to stand at the foot of the stage. The old man behind her continues his inspections, either unaware or uncaring that I've come to distract them. The woman leans toward me over the edge of the stage. I can see her makeup has been painstakingly applied, despite her status as a recent widow. I called it. Called it. I clear my throat as I meet her gaze and promptly introduce myself. Good evening, Miss, my name is Angie Cartwright. I am at your service. She extends her hand to me formally. Well, aren't you a new face in town? She teases. We get those quite a bit here. No doubt you plan to bid on some of my late husband's things. Good for both of us. Good for both of us, I say. Just be sure to give a good price for little old me, all right? She winks slyly at me. Why are all the women in this flirting with me? I think because I'm meant to be a man. But hell with that. I realize now would be a good time to get more information from this woman who might be most well-informed regarding my interests. She certainly seems like the flirty sort and would probably respond well to more of the same. Guys. So... Oh, no, did I not do charm? Why did I not? I definitely fixed that. I'm sad now. I'm sad. So, as I have been saying, because I'm quite excited by the whole prospect of it, I made my character hot. But there is a particular ability called charm in this. And I thought that I had put points in it. And it turns out I did not. I put the points in persuasion instead. Idiot! Alright. So, because I don't have any points in it, I have to roll below a 15 to be able to get this charm roll. And honestly, I would also understand, like, it would be fine if I failed. Because honestly, I don't know what I would do if she actually really did want this. So that's a 63. So that's so the vibes are just, yeah. The vibes are off. There are no vibes here. This is a business transaction, I suppose. And I don't think the business is going to go my way. I manage a smile and stumble through a compliment, and the woman laughs. Oh, I think I'm just thrown off by how like, these women are just coming at me, and I'm attractive myself, but, you know, I'm used to the male attention, I think, not the female. Oh, I'm so I didn't realize this was for your husband, and while I am so sorry for your loss, you look, your dress is stunning. I say in exactly that way, in the most awkward way possible. And the woman laughs. Oh my, well, aren't you the nervous sort? Don't know what to say to a pretty woman like me, huh? That's quite all right. I wouldn't have you anyway. Okay, ow. You're welcome to stay for the sale, though. I might like you better as a buyer. She winks and turns around, walking back to her place on stage. Okay, first of all, I knew I was going to get rejected. It still hurt a little. Second of all, she's a widow. And she is openly, what was her say? No, she didn't say it here, but I think it was in the previous text box, that she literally said these were her late husband's possessions and that she was selling them. And then she started flirting with me. and saying, nah, I'm good though. What is this woman? She is, yeah. She's too hot to know what to do. I think that's it. Like, again, like I said, she's used to the male attention, she's not used to the female. That's my story. And Raven IE, thank you for saying I have brilliant narration. Stop. Oh my god, stop. Okay, now we go back to 17. So that's our 3 pieces of very useful information. So there are 2 different sections of shady people. One section of which, both sections of which at least have access to guns. And the other section seems surprisingly unsad about the death of her husband. Now, like, I'm not saying that there's something strange going on here, but there's definitely, like, a little pickle of, ooh, I could get a gun at this estate sale. That's a good idea. Maybe I should see if, how, I can't say what I just thought. I'm just gonna move on with my life. Okay, so I've talked to the officer, talked to the men, and I've gone to the stage. I like doing these. This solo thing. This is fun. Anyways. The murmuring of the crowd dies down and people begin to gather around the stage as Amelia. Was she ever introduced? I don't think I ever said her name. It's fine. It's fine. The widow strides confidently to the front of the stage where the lights are centered. She flashes a broad smile at the crowd and begins to speak. Good evening, everyone. I am so glad you all could make it tonight. As you know, my husband recently passed, and, well, at this point, Amelia begins to tear up theatrically, so much so that her makeup begins to smear. She produces a handkerchief to dry her eyes before continuing. Well, I'm very upset. I miss my poor Williams very much. And I don't know what I'll do without him. And that's why I brought you all here tonight. I hope you can find some use for his collection. And I know that he would be happy to see his things go to those who value them highly. Oh. 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 I hope you'll show this poor widow a kindness by finding something you like. But now let us begin. I'll leave the auctioning to Mr. Warren. Yeah, that's my thing. With her opening statement complete, Amelia moves to stage left and allows the bespectacled old man, presumably Mr. Warren, to take center stage. He clears his throat before speaking. Yes. Tonight we have 6 very ancient and very valuable items for sale from the estate of Professor William Harris. Though exceedingly strange, I have deemed these items to be authentic to the best of my ability. I have placed a ballot box, slips of paper, and pencil on each of the 6 tables next to the item for sale. If you wish to bid on an item, simply write your name and the amount you are willing to pay for it on a slip. Then place it in the box. The item will be sold to the highest bidder. All of the proceeds will go to the wife of the deceased. Yeah, not even, like, there's not even, like, a chance some orphans might get this. With that, Mr. Warren moves to reveal, the gathered items. Listen, I watched a lot of, like, old films where there's, like, the concept of a femme fatale is very very familiar to me. And this has, like, early, like, very point-blank femme fatale shit. She definitely is at the very least involved. Metagame knowledge, I know, but I think even Angie would be like, okay. Like, she didn't even try to hide the fact that her husband just died. And, like, I know people, like, you know, people are allowed to be in on, oh, don't say that, Raven. Raven, no, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Like, she's not gonna kill me. Whoever the person she was cheating on her husband with is the one who's going to kill me. That's how it's gonna be. Okay. Mr. Warren approaches the first table and removes the cloth covering to reveal an odd pair of clay cylinders covered with strange etchings. They are small and seem quite fragile, with large cracks running down their sides. Mr. Warren proceeds to the next table and likewise uncovers the item in question. This one is significantly larger and more ornate. It appears to be some sort of altar or reliquary. I'm not... Okay. An altar? A full altar? Heavily decorated with yellow-green gemstones. However, there is one similarity with the first item. The presence of the same strange written characters, though these ones seem to have been painted on. The odd scholar turns to the next item in question and displays it for all to see. A decorated crown of solid bronze, wrought with the image of a Hindu god. Sick. Maybe that's the one that's going to drive me insane. The next item is certainly the most mundane. A large, thick, leather-bound journal that appears well worn and beaten, with several loose papers jammed between the pages. Mr. Warren senses the confusion of some members of the crowd and clarifies that the notebook is the assembled personal works and studies of Professor Harris. I need to get that. 100% I need to get that. But there does not seem to be any mention of a gun. The item that follows the journal is a well-preserved ceremonial robe of a Brahmin priest. Yeah, no, I see you, Raven. I'm getting the book. While who wouldn't like a little statue of a Hindu god, I want the book. The item that follows the journal is a well-preserved ceremonial robe of a Brahmin priest. The cloth is pure white. That would probably look great as a bathrobe. That's probably very disrespectful. I'm very sorry. The last item is perhaps the strangest of all. It is a small statue or idol, presumably of one of the many deities of ancient India, made from a blue-green stone in the shape of a rather grotesque lizard-like creature. The craftsmanship is crude and gaudy, so much so that it appears fake. People begin moving among the items, looking over them and conversing quietly. Look, I'm going to make the rolls that they say I should make, but I should say, I have no skill in this whatsoever. So the skills they're telling me to make are appraise or archaeology. So for appraise, I have to roll below a 5. Okay. Like, very unlikely on a percentile dice, but doable. With archaeology, you have to roll 1. That's critical success. So I'm going to go for the appraise. And Dice Christ, I understand if you don't give me this one. Like, it's a D100. Dice Christ, like, you don't have to make this one happen. I'm going for the notebook. Like, they've told me what it is. I don't need to know about the other. I got a 72. There was no way. Oh, so for I'll explain it one last time, just for the people in the back. Um, you have to roll above. No, sorry, you have to roll below your stat. So, for example, for the appraise, I have to roll below 5 to be able to get a success. Um, so that's why I wasn't particularly hopeful. Like 72 is a little bit more than 5. I like me personally, I also employ like the meets it beats it rule. So, I mean, it was not going to happen no matter what. So let's just move on. Let's just not talk about it. I glance over the items, but I do not have an eye for antiquities. As near as I can tell, everything is as it appears to be and as Mr. Warren claims. Still, as I look over the notebook, I notice it contains personal accounts as well as academic findings. It will likely be a very good source of information regarding Professor Harris. Dog, I know. Like, I know. Don't need to tell me twice. I also don't have a lot of money, so I don't know how well this is gonna go. I am Poe. I notice that I'm not the only one looking over the items with such interest. The monk appears to be closely scrutinizing the stranger items as well, and the dark-suited gentleman from earlier seemed to have taken a liking to the curious idol. Apart from this, various other guests wander around the tables, occasionally fixing on one in particular. There are many guests and a fair number of bids being placed. If I would like to bid on any item, now is the time. Uh, like obviously the journal, but I'm so poor. Like, can't I just say like, hey, I'm a cop? Kind of. I feel the information in the journal is essential to my interests, and I cannot help but make a bid. I place my paper with the others and hope that Mr. Warren calls my name when the amounts are compared. Okay. So I had the opportunity to increase how much money I made. I did when I was reworking this character sheet, and I didn't. So, I have to roll below 20 to be able to get this journal. Again, definitely more likely than a praise, but still, like, it's a bunch of fancy ass people here. Like, Dice Christ, you play funny, funny, funny jokes. You're a funny, funny person. I you're embodying your name, Chaos. I don't want to get beat up by that police officer though. I got a 98. I got a 98. That's we're not I don't think we're not using like critical successes, critical fails in this. But 98 is that's a very critical fail. Uh all right. I knew it probably wouldn't happen. I'm broke ass bitch. Like I have a like a rewarding job, but like it's not paying an exposure, but it's definitely like minimum wage. I place a modest bid on the journal, thinking its unremarkable nature would prevent anyone from paying anything resemble a larger sum. Clearly I was mistaken, as another name is called, and a bright-eyed, blonde-haired youth goes to claim the book for a price that is noticeably more than my offer. Who the hell are you? Why do you want this book? Who is this Aryan lad? He's probably not Aryan. I hope he's not Aryan. Oh, what did they say? The dark-suited gentlemen from earlier have taken a liking to the curious idol. You're right, I should never trust a blonde. What do you guys think? Should I... We know these guys are shady, okay? There is truly no doubt in anybody's mind that these guys came with guns. All three of them, actually. The idol, it doesn't really say what the idol is. It's, well, it does. So it's essentially, it looks like a kind of lizard, and it almost looks, according to the description, it looks so bad that it almost looks fake. But all three of these guys have guns. But I am feeling bitter about losing this journal. Yeah, let's see if we can fuck with these guys. Because honestly, they pissed me off. Just being... I know I went up to them and interrupted their conversation, but, like, they pushed me. Something draws me to the curious idol, and I feel compelled to make a bid. Okay. I don't like that I feel compelled to do so. I notice that I'm not alone in this, and that the monk... Oh, the monk and the dark-suited men both place bids of their own in the box. It's definitely not going to be high enough. I have to make another credit roll, and I have to get... So, I kept saying critical, showing my D&D roots here, but, it's called an extreme. So, an extreme success... No, they didn't say snake, it was, a lizard. I believe that's what they said, lizard. I didn't just go back, because I had no idea where I was meant to go if I did succeed. I doubt I'm going to succeed. So, as I was saying, an extreme success is when you get a certain number, below a certain number. For me and my credit rating, that extreme success is 5. So, my door just opened. It's definitely... I'm about to get murked. I got so excited for a second there because I didn't see the other dice at first. The other die. I saw the 4 and got super excited. Then I saw the 70 and got less excited. Bummer. Bummer. I wonder who gets it, though. That's interesting to me. This detective job truly does not pay enough. Thanks, Raven. Appreciate it. If you want to see more of my beautiful face, though, and how it reacts to rolls, just above your message, there is a link to my Instagram. Though I put a sizable bid in for the idol, a truly outrageous sum is called, easily twice what I offered. Mr. Warren squints hard at the paper before calling out the staggering price and an unfamiliar-sounding name. Bonyu. Confused whispers break out as the orange-robed monk collects the statue with a look of excitement on his face. That man is in full danger. He is in full danger. The other people who bid on the idol, all 3 of them seem to have guns. And they all literally quote, the dark-suited gentleman from earlier seemed to have taken a liking to the curious idol. Not good. I might have to follow Banyu, make sure he's not murked. My business here is completed. I see the crowd staring covetously at the newly acquired items, and I spot Amelia looking smug and satisfied with a leather bag full of cash. This bitch killed her goddamn husband. Mr. Warren begins to clear away the tables while Officer Powell stands by the door and directs people out of the building and into the ever-thickening fog. Though some seem content to stay and socialize, I feel that it would be best to go go bed down for the night. No, I don't want. I want to follow Banyu and make sure he's not killed. While the estate sale seems interesting, I would feel more secure with a roof over my head for the night. I pull someone out of the crowd and inquire as to where I can find a room for the night. I'm directed a few blocks into town to a modestly priced hotel a few buildings down from Esbury's police station. As I enter from the cool night air, I'm greeted by the heat of a roaring fire. No, fire, no! I step very conspicuously away from the fire, and I rub my wrists, where slight scars can be seen. The small front room feels stuffy and cramped. The bulk of the space is dominated by the large service counter, behind which sits a wiry-looking wisp of a woman. She turns her wide eyes to you and asks my name, then quotes me a price that's more than fair. Finally, something I can afford. With the transaction complete, I haul my thin briefcase up the stairs, unpack it, and settle into my room for the night. I wake in the morning. Hopefully Banyu's not dead. I don't know Banyu. I'm just slightly annoyed at him. And also slightly concerned. I rise from my bed and take in the modest surroundings that make up my room. The furnishings are sparse, a small, poor-quality dresser, a cramped and dusty writing desk tucked in the corner. Sitting atop the desk is a plate of eggs and toast, apparently set out for you by the hotel's owner. That's nice. The walls are plain and unadorned, save for the single window that faces towards the lake. However, this view is currently blocked by the incredibly thick fog, which has taken on a pale green hue. Green's a normal color for fog. I'm not worried. Your vision is obscured entirely, and I cannot see the depths of that outlandish and I cannot see into the depths of that outlandish green mist. I also notice that my personal belongings are placed around the room, exactly as I left them the night before. Yeah, I hope so. After getting dressed and eating the modest breakfast set out for me, I'm ready to begin my day. I take a moment to consider what that means. Yeah, what does that mean? My mind turns to Professor Harris. If I'm so inclined, I might be able to investigate the circumstances of his death further. Considering that I don't have his widow Amelia's address, I would have to start my search with the official report filed with Professor Officer Powell, at the police station. Alternatively, I could take this free time to look through my belongings and examine any items I might have. I have none. I'm too poor. The hotel owner has been in my room, so a check of my things might be in order. It's true. Or perhaps I've some other reason to look over my possessions. That's not a prompt. Finally, if I feel that my business in Esbury isn't concluded, I could always try to find Lance Sanford at the ferry. Well, my business is not concluded. I still don't know what the hell is going on with Amelia. Like, Angie's like going off because like just a series of very confusing events. So, as much as I don't want to talk with this thug, I guess I'm gonna take a trip to the police station. 11. I step out into the greenish mist. I feel it clinging tightly as I make my way to the short distance to the police station. Upon entering, the small brick building... Okay, I need a little... There we go. It's better. Upon entering the small brick building, you are struck with a sense of claustrophobia. Ugh. The walls here are uncomfortably close together, and space is tight. Crammed into the tiny structure are a large desk, several filing cabinets, and a few chairs. A closet-sized holding cell with iron bars sits at the rear of the room. Behind the large desk is Officer Powell, smoking a cigar with his feet propped up on the table. His coat is buttoned and his hat lies on top of a stack of papers next to a battered old revolver. Think he'll give it to me? He opens one eye and frowns at you, sighing through his cigar as he straightens himself up to look presentable. If you're bothering me right now, I'm going to assume that this is important. Yes, if it's not too much trouble, I would like to see, the report for Professor Harris's death. He replies with a snort. You've no business dealing with that, and even if you did, this is my jurisdiction. Shove off and leave me in peace. He doesn't seem cooperative, but perhaps I could convince him that I have some special circumstance that warrants me to look through the files. Yes. So, I may not be charming, but I can con somebody. My fast talk, which is the equivalent of deception, they say fast talk could be lying or could literally just be talking fast, like bullying your way, like with words through. Um, Conning, that's how they put it in the book, conning. I have a fast talk of 65, so now I get the good rolls. 17. Ooh. Gotta love my beautiful, fast-talking lady. I imply that I know the right kind of people. People who might ask the wrong kind of questions if I don't get that report. I'm not certain whether or not Officer Powell believes me, but I can tell it's more trouble than he's willing to take. Yeah, fuck you. With a look of irritation, he thumbs through the stack of papers on his desk before handing you the file you asked after. According to the report, Professor Harris's death is officially a suicide. His death occurred at his home address. Great, we have that. He was up late one night in his study where he stuck a gun into his mouth. Apologies, guys. Might get a little graphic. In fact, it already did. I apologize. Probably should have read ahead a little. And painted the room red. Jesus. His body was found the following afternoon by his wife, Amelia Harris. There was no note. The deceased had no prior criminal history, and the gun found at the scene hadn't been used in any reported crimes. Overall, the report is dry and minimalist. All requisite information is present, but only to the barest standard of diligence. So, a bad and corrupt cop. Great. Satisfied, I hand the file back to Powell, who grumbles and tucks it away before clearing his throat loudly and propping his feet back up. I feel that I have been given the cue to leave, and Officer Powell will not likely be of much help. Yeah, I guess we go to the house, but let's take a quick look at our time here. Yeah, we got loads. Perfect. 90. Let's see what do you think, guys? You think we can finish this mystery tonight? Send Amelia to jail because she definitely murdered her husband? I don't know how she did it. I don't know how, but she knows. She knows something. I walk into town toward the Harris address. Even knowing the location, it's difficult for me to find my way due to the unfamiliarity of the town and the density of the peculiar mist. As a result, it's some time before I arrive at the Harris house. As I approach the building, a man steps out of the fog, blocking my path. Oh, this is that weird guy. He is young and thin with rather angular features and the faint hint of a mustache atop his lip. He's dressed in a dark suit and stares at me from beneath a flat cap. You're an unwelcome surprise. I don't know what you're looking for, but you won't find it here. His eyes betray you. My eyes betray me. God damn it. As I glance at the Harris house. The man scowls visibly. Why don't you leave the poor widow alone, you creep? If you want to bother her, you're gonna have to go through old Joshua here. Capiche? His hand brushes beneath his coat as if searching for something, but then he stops himself. This is one of the guys who had a gun. He was with those men. He pauses for a moment, looking me over once more before spitting on the ground at my feet and turning away. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 nah. I'm going to call out to Joshua. He's probably going to beat me up, but honestly, fine. I call out to Joshua to explain himself, half expecting that he'll brush me off. Surprisingly, he turns in my direction and steps towards me. Oh. I fight, I die. No, I'm gonna go down. I've faced worse than Joshua. As Joshua moves closer to me, I can once again make out his features despite the fog. I can see now he is visibly red in the face, and his eyes are bloodshot. Well, that's not great. He is clearly livid. Oh no! His hand darts beneath his coat and reemerges holding a Colt M1911, which he points directly at me while speaking in an agitated manner. This escalated so quickly. Oh my shit. What the hell is your problem? I threaten you and you come back for more? Do you have a death wish? Leave Amelia alone. I've been about this for far too long for you to wander into town and ruin it for me. He shoves me back and levels the gun at my face, looking me dead in the eyes with sweat on his brow. No, go away. He grits his teeth, panting and huffing for a second before holstering the gun and bracing himself against a nearby building. Get the hell out of my sight. If I have to look at that goddamn face of yours for one more second, I'll put another hole in it. I see no reason to provoke Joshua, and I hurriedly leave him. Yes, you did tell me. However, he was an asshole. I argue he was an asshole. And he is very much confirmed to me that this Amelia, either this guy is obsessed, in which case I should still go to the house, or Amelia is involved. 100%. They're like, this guy's not even near the house and he's telling me to not go to the house. So, if there was one thing Angie hasn't learned from her previous adventures, it is how to not, she's gonna stick her nose in other people's business. Like, she has to. But this is also a very good cliffhanger to end on, too. What do you think, guys? Should I end it on the really nice cliffhanger and make this a two-parter, or continue down this little rabbit hole? What do you think? Push on. I appreciate you, Raven. I'm appreciating your hype. I like your moxie, kid. I'll push on. Despite Joshua's urging, I feel compelled to speak to Amelia myself. Yeah! I approach the front of the house and note my surroundings. The house's exterior hints at the wealth of the occupants, but then again, so do most places in town. Directly across from the residence is a small church, whose religious iconography seems to have inspired the Harrises in the design of their own home. A bronze cross hangs over the front door, and decorative columns line the outside walls of the two-story house. All in all, the architectural style is somewhat baroque, complete with a pair of carved angels lounging beneath the eaves that are just visible through the strange haze. I knock at the door and wait in the mist for a few moments, hoping for someone to hear. Eventually, much to my relief, the widow Amelia answers the door. She's wearing a bright red dress Come on. Come on. A bright red dress? Which accents her deep crimson lipstick. She appears to have taken great care over her appearance. She flashes me a little smile and invites me inside. The house opens into a large foyer, and I see various crates and bundles stacked high along the walls. Just selling off a few more of the common things. Mind the mess. The porter hasn't come for it yet. She takes me by the hand to lead me past the stacks of items, helping me to pick my way through the deceased Professor Harris's assembled possessions. She takes me into a small drawing room full of antique furniture and offers me some coffee. After settling in and exchanging a few well-mannered pleasantries, I ask in more detail about the letter to Professor Harris. Miss Harris, if I may be so bold, would you be able to tell me a little bit more about, the day of his passing? If it is too difficult for you, I understand, but, I'm here to make sure, of his personal affairs. Amelia sighs theatrically and looks down at her hands. I can't imagine what you want to ask about William. I found him in his study with the gun still in his mouth. What more could you want to know? How'd you make it look like a suicide? That's what I want to know. Psychology. Big money, big money, big money, big money. 34. Tell me why you killed him. 126. Could he really have been that rich? Like, I don't know much about professors, but I can't imagine they were, like, unless he worked in a very highbrow university. I don't know why I hadn't realized it before. I definitely did. Selling all of his things, adopting such a flirty demeanor, dismissing questions about her husband's death. Amelia doesn't seem too broken up about her husband's passing. She's hiding something. I bet my career on it. And I suspect she's definitely involved in Professor Harris's death in some form or another. I open my mouth, prepared to call her bluff and press her for more information, but I'm interrupted by a loud knock at the door. Amelia jumps up, startled, and stands there for a moment in confusion as the pounding on the door resumes. Police! Open the door! Amelia's face drains white as she goes to answer the knock. Because it's for you? Your gut tells you something is wrong here. I feel uneasy about the officer at the door. I tell myself I'm being irrational and on edge, but I have trouble fighting that feeling. I have precious few moments to react. I might hide. Yeah. Take your advice, Raven. So my stealth is not bad, but you know. I fail. It's an 81. It's not great. My instincts get the better of me, and I feel compelled to make my escape. I rise from my seat, looking for suitable exits. The only way that doesn't lead toward the entrance is through the kitchen. I don't know if there's an exit that way, but I think it's worth a shot. Unfortunately, I never get to take it. As I rise and head for the kitchen doorway, Officer Powell bursts into the room shouting, "Freeze! Police!" I glance over my shoulder and see his revolver leveled at me. What the hell? And I go stiff. You're under arrest for trespassing. You're going to come with me. Now. He has me dead in his sights. Talking would do me little good as he's already caught me trying to flee the scene. I should probably do what he says. On the other hand, I could run. Staring down the barrel of a gun, the odds don't look good, but maybe I like my chances better with the gun than with the prison cell. I'm feeling that. And Angie has already been through experience where she's been put in a position where she can't escape. Fuck this shit, I'm out. I ain't going quietly. Never again. Never again. If I die, I die. I think I would rather. I eye the barrel of the gun, weighing my chances. Doesn't look good, but I decide it beats the alternative. My muscles tense, waiting to spring into action. I take a breath and go for it. Oh no! Oh no! I miscalculate how slim my chances were. I manage to take one step before I hear the loud crack of the revolver. I feel a round slam into my chest and then another. I stumble back, clutching at my wounds, doubled over in agony. I look up just in time to see Powell looming over me before he smashes the butt of the gun over my head. Oh crap. No! Am I dead? In a daze, I look down at the pool of blood forming around me. My limbs start to go numb. The pain starts to recede and I feel myself growing cold. I know that I'm going to die. The last thing I see is the glint of murder in the policeman's eyes. I have died. My visit to Esbury is over. I know. They're so not forgiving. Very unforgiving. The last time I just got burnt alive, like, this was ridiculous. Okay. Hear me out. I still want to since I've decided that we're gonna run with this, why don't we just go back to the option before where it says go quietly. Because, like, let's be real, like, I'm probably just going to be going to the police station on this trumped up charge. Yeah, no, like, I've really enjoyed playing this. I do kind of want to see how the other option went out, but I also have integrity. If this is the end of the story, this is the end of the story, right? Should have realized he would shoot a woman with truly no provocation. Because I don't even think I'd started to run yet. I managed a single step. And I wonder, was it a step backward or a step forward? It doesn't stay. But this guy truly just shot me without any hesitation. That's just a... Shall we rewind for shits and gigs? Let's rewind for shits and gigs. You can tell I'm a little salty. We've taken the mushroom. We're one-upping just to see. Because I would like, in the last one, I didn't get to use the sanity at all. Yeah, getting the idol would have, like, I would have loved to have gotten that journal, but 47, maybe? One day I'll get better at remembering which one I was actually on, right? Okay. 65. To go quietly, even though I truly hate the idea. It is truly disgusting to me that I'm just... The officer is armed and angry, so I decide it's probably best not to resist. I am escorted out of the house at gunpoint and into the sickly green fog. Amelia neither says nor does anything as I pass. She simply stares at me as I go. On the street, just outside the Harris property, I spot Joshua, that fuck, grinning madly. His eyes meet yours and his smile gets just a bit wider. He put Officer Powell up to this. He's not even trying to hide it. That still doesn't explain why, but at least I know for certain that Joshua is not friendly to me. Well, I knew it when he pulled the gun out on me. And that he has Powell in his pocket. That is good and new information. I'm all over this as I am marched through the misty streets and taken to the police station. I'm ushered into the dim and dingy room and shoved into a closet-sized cell on the far wall. Officer Powell turns the key in the lock, sealing me in the cell. He settles into his seat and pays you no further mind as he begins to puff on a cigar. This guy is the worst. He seems to have no intention of letting me go anytime soon. And why did I do that? Okay, so we have a few options here. To wait the night, not doing that. I could attempt to escape by making a locksmithing roll, or I could convince him to let me out. My best chance is to con him. So let's con him. Let's see if I can get out. Got it. 60. Just about. 127. Well, it wouldn't even, like, it doesn't matter. Are we still going? Can you guys still hear me? Oh shit, it works. Well, there you go. Yeah, no, it was my fault. My laptop ran out of battery and I was a dummy. There we go. Nice little backlight here. So, yeah. Basically what happened is, ran out of battery on my laptop because I needed it. I need the slot that my charger goes into to power my monitor. And, very much a computer says no type situation. So, you guys can see that. And we were going to 127. I turn my attention to Officer Powell and plead with him to release me. Initially, he pays me no mind. Eventually, however, I mention that I'll leave town if he lets me go, and that seems to seal the deal. Having you out of the way makes my life a bit easier. Get the hell out of here before I change my mind. If I see you again, you're getting a bullet. I do not hesitate to leave the cell as he unlocks it, and now I know from my respawn that he means it. So we're not going to indulge him. So, just to let everybody know, I won't be able to see chat for, because I have to use this window to navigate, essentially. So I apologize if I don't respond to anybody immediately. I just want to make sure that I do this right. Feeling that it's the best course of action right now, I return to my room at the hotel. I turn the key in the lock and my door swings open to reveal a startling sight. My room has been ransacked. My bed is overturned and the covers are strewn about. The dresser drawers have all been pulled out and emptied. My briefcase lies open on the floor. Anything of value that I had was gone. No, I had a torch and a camera. Anything I may have gained from the estate sale, I didn't gain anything. And anything I might have brought with me beyond the basic essentials is likewise missing. These fuckers. The window hangs open, letting the greenish mist into the room. I close it to keep out the chill and begin to set things straight while I overcome the shock of what has happened. As I consider my options, the sounds of a loud and violent commotion drift from the room next door. I would not. Listen. I know I just got shot. However, I would not ignore the sounds of a loud and violent commotion. So let's go. If I die again, I am just going to let it. I'm going to let it ride. I only got one. Fearing that someone might be in danger, or perhaps that this commotion is somehow related to the theft of my room, I rush to investigate. I find the adjacent room's door open, and inside I discover a large and familiar-looking man in a dark suit. He looms over the prone body of a beaten and bloody Buddhist monk. Oh my god, Banyu! The man in the suit has clearly worked him over. The suited man has his back to you, and I doubt I've been noticed yet. With a little luck, I might be able to get the drop on him and subdue him quickly. Alternatively, if I have come into the possession of a firearm during my stay, where could I have gotten a gun? And even if I had a gun before, apparently it would have just been stolen. I'm about to fight this dude. Okay. Don't need to roll for initiative, but we're in it. I need to make a fighting brawl with a bonus die. So bonus die, their version of advantage. I roll 2 of these 10s die, and I take the lower roll because I got the drop on him. Guys, if I was a rogue, technically speaking, I'm a rogue in D&D terms. I should be getting sneak attack damage. Just saying. Ooh. Okay. I got a 30, but I mentioned earlier that there is optional rule that they recommend using in this adventure called luck points. And I have a certain amount of luck points that I can use to make something a success, but there are certain things that I'm not allowed to use those luck points on. So let's make a note of where we are. We are on 142. I'm going to go back. This is important, guys. Like, I would love to beat up a very, very big man using luck points. I can't spend luck points to alter every roll, though. Damage rolls, luck rolls, sanity rolls, and rolls to the nerve. I'm not seeing anything that suggests, according to these rules, that I am not allowed to use it on a combat roll. I can't use it on a damage roll, but I can use it on... That's perfect. I'm a call it. I'm a say. I did my DMly duty and looked it up. So I am going to, for the first time ever, use luck points. I have 85 luck points, and I'm going to use 5 to turn that into a success. Hell yeah. Look at me, learning the mechanics. If I succeed, go to 97. We gonna fight this man. I take a step towards the man. He hears my approach and rounds on me, swinging wildly with a shout of surprise. His fist catches me in the chest and sends me sprawling backwards. Oh wait, hold on, no, I beat him. Hold on, 142. No, I refuse. Is he gonna beat me up no matter what? If I succeed, 97. I don't think I went to 97. Did I go? I didn't go to 97. I was so excited. I'm so sorry. I rush the man and swing for his head. My blow lands and carries him into the wall. Dang. With a sickening crack, he is rendered unconscious and collapses in a heap on the floor. I stand over the monk, wide-eyed monk. He seems battered and bruised, and is in no doubt in some degree of pain. Still he manages to rise to his feet and extend his hand in thanks. He offers words of gratitude to you for rescuing him from his attacker. I'm glad you came when he did. You did. That one was rather violent. It's regretful that you had to hurt him so, but he will live. What happened? What's going on? His friend robbed me of some of the relics of my temple. This one wished to stay behind and inflict harm on me, so I would not pursue them. They must have been in my room as well. I'm pretty sure they haven't taken anything as far as I can see, but they must have been looking for whatever it was you had. The monk smiles at me and shakes my hand more vigorously. Then we shall go after our things together. I heard them discuss where they would meet up after that one was done with me. Wondering at my good fortune, I don't call this good fortune, and not willing to turn down any aid, I accept the monk's offer. I doubt the suited man will be waking any time soon, and we will both be gone by then. I simply leave him and exit the hotel, with the orange-robed Buddhist leading me through the mist. But yes, I know you all made some very valid points, but I would also argue that I won. Dang, I think Yep, me and this monk are going to go on a quick adventure. I am actually genuinely surprised that I lived through that, so that's nice for me. Banyu, the Buddhist monk, chats casually with me as we walk through the fog. We both note that the light is beginning to dim through the mist, and this becomes the topic of conversation for a few minutes. It will be even harder to see soon. I would not like to be out and about any longer than we must. This fog is most unusual. Is this common here? No, well, I'm not from here, but more often than not, no. This color of fog is not usual. He seems mildly perturbed. I have seen nothing like it at my temple in India either. The conversation continues like this for some time until finally we arrive at our destination. The place in question is a small house located on the edge of town near a church. Banyu informs you that he has no intention of going inside, as he knows it may result in violence and he is opposed to physical conflict. Well, he shoots me a quick glance and then goes to stand by the church. I try the door and find it unlocked. I have no doubt that the men inside will be armed, so I slip inside quietly, hoping to avoid notice. Note down. Okay, so I need to do two things. Note down met Banyu on my investigator sheet. Later, I may be prompted to visit Banyu if you know where to meet him. At that time, you then may go. Okay. Meet Banyu. Stealth roll. Stealth is not the best, but again, not the worst. 87. Cool. 144. I'm wearing heels. I can't move like I used to from the burns. Guys, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Nothing is going to happen, and everything is fine. Banyu! I open the door, but it catches a draft, slamming against the wall as I attempt to slide inside. The door rattles on its hinges, and I hear the sound of footsteps pounding across the floor in another room. My attempts to conceal myself prove too slow as a pair of men burst into the living room and lock their attention on me. Am I in a living room? Yeah, well. It told me 144. They rush forward, and the larger of the two tries to tackle me. I'm sure this is fine. Dodge roll. What do I need to do for a dodge? I did not write it down. I have a whole book. I have a whole book to tell me. Because I don't want to make a lot of clickety-clackety noise. Fuck it. I'm just going to use my dex. That makes the most sense to me. So I have to roll below a 40 to be able to dodge this. Oh my goodness, I did it! 29! I can't move like I used to, but I can move just enough. 157. I duck the blow and dodge out of the man's way as he flings himself towards me. He stumbles into the wall. I quickly throw my weight against my assailant and knock the wind out of him. As I've stunned the large man, I take the chance to enter the building, slamming the door behind me and blocking him from attacking me again once he recovers. Oh no. Unfortunately, I'm now face to face with the other man, who scowls menacingly at me while brandishing a knife. You bastard! Think you can cause trouble for old Josh? I'll gut you like a fish. Besides, I think we could use a little blood for what's coming next. He shouts something incomprehensible and lunges at me with the blade. His eyes betray murderous intentions. It's fine. Listen. I can dodge once, I can dodge again. It's good. Whoa! I did dodge again. 26. Hell yes. I actually, like, truly was, like, I made my physical stats intentionally bad to reflect what happened in the last stream. But adrenaline. I wait for Joshua to strike, timing my reaction just right. He drives forward with the point of the blade, and I roll to one side. The force of his lunge carries his blow through, and he beds the knife in the wall behind me, cursing as he does so. He lets go of the blade's handle and turns to face you, balling up his fists and adopting a readied stance. He takes a few experimental swings at me, which I dodge easily. Still, I simply can't keep up with him. Can't keep avoiding him. I'll have to subdue him if I want to make it out of here. And judging by the banging on the front door, I'll have to do it quickly. Okay. My brawl. Like this, I gotta roll below a 25. Oh no. $100. Okay, so 1d3. So a 1d3 is something I've only ever come across in Cthulhu. Basically, take a d6, divide it by 2. That's my rule. That's my damage. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So only 1 hit point. So I go from 10 to 9. Great. I swing at Joshua. I manage to land a few solid blows, but I get as good as I give, with him hitting me several times as well. It seems like this brawl could go on for some time before a winner is decided. Unfortunately, time is not on my side. As I continue to strike against Joshua, the door of the house bursts open and the other man charges you. Together they beat me into unconsciousness. Shit. Well, we knew Joshua was bad. Thanks, Raven, for saying that this is the best Twitch stream ever. I think you only said the year, but you know, I'll take it. I'm going to say ever. I awake, stripped of any weapons and tied to a chair in a dusty basement. The first thing I notice is the pain from my wounds. They are still fresh and have not been tended to in any way. Second thing I notice is the table across from me, with its strange collection of items. A pair of cracked clay cylinders, A gemstone studded altar with curious scrawls, a stack of papers, and an unnatural-looking idol of sea green stone fashioned in the shape of a lizard-like creature. Standing next to the table is a man you can't quite make out in the dimness of the room. That! He puffs absently at a cigar as he stares at me. Behind the table is a still and other bootlegging equipment. I turn my head to see one of the suited men from before leaning against the door, sipping from a flask. When I begin to move, the unknown man walks over to you. He grins wildly, and you spot a glint of madness in his eyes as he hovers at the edge of the illuminated area. He produces a knife from his pocket, and the blade catches the glimmer of the dim bulb flickering above. The stranger shoots a glance at the suited man by the door, who nods then leaves. The remaining man comes into the light and presses the knife against my cheek. It digs into my flesh, nicking me and drawing a drop of blood on the tip. Thought you could cause trouble for Josh, eh? I'm going to enjoy this, getting rid of my little problem. Everything was fine until you started snooping around, putting me and Amelia both in danger here, and you're getting in the way of my plans. So I'm going to enjoy tearing open your throat and offering up your life to the idol. Perhaps it'll please him. Then I'll get what I want. I'll finally make my way to that beautiful place that I've seen in my dreams. It will be over soon. But I will bleed you slow, because I want to enjoy this. He takes the knife and presses it deeper. I struggle reflexively against my bonds, trying to escape the pain. Perhaps if I struggle hard enough, I can break free. So I'm going to be tortured to death, unless I can roll below 40. Dice Christ, 15. So much adrenaline is just coursing through this woman's veins. She is not getting trapped by a crazed person again. I don't know what I'll do when I get out, but it's better than being tortured. I say, not knowing what's going to happen. I struggle against my bonds as I begin to panic. Mercifully, they give away. Joshua is shocked by the sound of snapping rope echoing off the walls, and he jumps away on pure reflex. I act on instinct alone. Without thinking, I rush toward him, attempting to wrestle the knife from his grip. I know that I need to be the one in control of the weapon if I'm going to survive, especially as there's another armed man just outside. I grasp Joshua's forearm, preventing him from attacking you with the knife. I then try to pry it from his hand, even as I jab and strike at him with my knees and my elbows, hoping desperately that I can snatch the blade from his grip. No fight. I gotta roll. I don't do it. 180. Man, I'm gonna get killed by a man who's gonna bleed me slow. Try as I might, I'm unable to pry the blade from Joshua's grasp. He manages to land a single solid punch to my face that sends me reeling backward. In a moment, he's on top of you. Joshua locks eyes with me, smiling with wicked glee as he rests the cold metal lightly against my throat. I'm just going to give a quick content warning right here. I'm not sure what's about to happen or what's about to be said. I can't imagine it's going to be conducive to anyone who has maybe triggers or phobias right now. Then his eyes glaze over as he starts speaking in a strange tongue. He speaks each syllable in a slow, monotonous tone, as if he's focusing very carefully on the sound of the words. As the last syllable passes his lips, Joshua takes the knife and presses it sharply against my neck. With a single, smooth motion, he slits my throat. As I bleed out, my eyes perceive impossible visions. The world before me melts away, replaced by a shining city of marble, onyx, and lustrous gems. I see this magnificent city in all its splendor, sitting next to a placid lake. And then, in an instant, it's gone, as the water rises up to swallow it. The lizard thing of the idol, given life and power by my blood, surges up from the water. The being eyes you. Ooh, of a new follower. The being eyes me with malicious sentience as the water swell and consume me. I have been offered as a sacrifice to one of the great old ones. My visit to Esbury is over. Listen, I didn't go insane, but if you think about it, in a certain way, I became a god. And while I'm not pleased with how I became a god, being brutally murdered by an insane man, I would argue there are worse ways to become a god. So, like, if I was gonna go out, might as well go out as a god. I want to be able to raid somebody. I'm not sure who's online at the moment, but we'll see. But I hope you all enjoyed. Cass, what's up, Cass? Oh, I forgot about the luck points. Dang. Oh, and another first-timer. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate you. Appreciate your face. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. That was a really, really solid stream. I only have one issue and one issue only. It's the fact that Red Robin Cass is here, so I can't raid him, and now I'm sad. But let's see if we can raid someone else, shall we? Oh. Cass, you are online. Perfect. So we are going to raid. We're gonna stop with this Call of Cthulhu nonsense. We're gonna head over to Advanced Dragons, and we're gonna watch ourselves a cheeky little Dungeons and Dragons stream. Thank you everybody who showed up for the stream. I really appreciate you and your faces. There will be another stream next week, and this VOD will be available on my VOD channel, the Dreaded VODs, and I've decided that rather than putting condensed versions on that VOD channel, I'm going to put it on my main channel. So there are 3 VODs in the works and 2 videos that are going to be due for the future involving these streams. But thank you everyone again for watching. Let's go raid. Who's ready to raid? Let's go. Good night, everybody. And I hope you enjoy Advanced Dragons.